The first warning arrived on a Thursday. It came not as an announcement, nor as a signal the likes of which Earth had ever seen. It was a shadow across the sun, a silent, impenetrable darkness that swallowed the midday light in the span of heartbeats. People stopped in streets, cars stalled mid-traffic, airplanes trembled in the sky. The phenomenon lasted only minutes, but it left a whisper of dread in every human mind. And then the message appeared. It was not written in any language we could immediately understand. The symbols burned themselves across every screen on the planet simultaneously, glowing with a cold violet light that made eyes water. But as humans attempted to decipher it, the meaning became terrifyingly clear. Surrender the human or watch your planet burn. The sender was unmistakable. The alien queen of the Zorinthian Empire, a civilization that had conquered countless star systems, leaving nothing but charred worlds in its wake. Her message was not negotiable. Her threats were not idle. And in one instant, humanity understood that we were now part of a galactic chess game we had never been invited to. The human in question, my brother Elias, had been taken 2 months prior. He was not a soldier, nor a diplomat, nor anyone of political significance. He was simply Elias, a quiet, stubborn young man from Oregon who had somehow been in the wrong place at the wrong time. The alien queen had chosen him, though none could fathom why. I, Carol Whitman, had spent those 2 months unraveling every thread of information about the Zorinthians that humanity could gather. Our scientists, military strategists, and hackers worked feverishly, but the aliens' technology was beyond anything we had encountered. Faster than light vessels, weapons that bent space itself, and shields that no missile could pierce. Even if we attempted a rescue mission, Elias's fate seemed sealed. It was during a late-night conference at the UN's hastily established Alien Defense Center that I first heard the Queen speak directly, not through a translation, not through intermediaries, but through the ether itself. You have 24 standard hours to comply. Her voice vibrated through the room, cold, commanding, indifferent to fear. Surrender the human, or your world will be reduced to cinders. Her words were accompanied by a display of power that silenced the assembled leaders. A small moon, captured from one of Earth's neighboring systems, detonated in orbit above the Atlantic, shattering and raining flaming debris into the ocean. The world watched in horror. But even as panic gripped nations, I refused to give in. Elias was my brother, and I knew him better than anyone. I knew that if he were being held, he would not allow the Queen's threats to control us. I could not surrender him. The following morning, the Zorinthian vessel appeared in orbit. It was massive, dark, and impossibly alien. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, constantly shifting in patterns that no human eye could fully track. From its prow, a column of violet energy shot toward Earth, cutting a swath across the sky. Satellites fell, communications scrambled, and power grids went dark. Humanity had exactly 1 day left. I volunteered to make contact. The UN Military Council balked at the idea, but I insisted. I knew the Queen would expect diplomacy, not rebellion. What she could not anticipate, however, was the stubbornness of a human with nothing left to lose. The approach vessel was unlike any human craft. It was organic, alive almost, responding to my ship's presence with subtle undulations. When I boarded the alien vessel, the air itself seemed to hum with energy. I was immediately surrounded by shadows that solidified into humanoid forms. They were tall, impossibly elegant, with eyes that glowed violet in dim light. And at the center, seated on a throne that appeared to float above the floor, was the alien queen herself. She was terrifying, yet undeniably majestic. Her skin shimmered like molten metal, her limbs elongated with a grace that defied human anatomy, and her gaze penetrated to my very thoughts. "So," she said, her voice echoing both inside my ears and my mind, "you are the one who refuses to obey, the human sibling. Curious, courageous, foolish." I swallowed my fear and stepped forward. "I'm here to negotiate." The queen's gaze flicked to a holding chamber, where Elias stood, restrained but unharmed. His expression was calm, almost defiant. "You already have what you want," I said, though my voice trembled slightly. "He is alive. Let him go, and there will be no conflict." "No conflict?" Her laughter rang like chimes of ice. "You do not understand. The human must surrender. He is a key to an experiment, a variable I cannot risk." I didn't understand, not entirely, but I realized that reasoning alone would not save Elias. I needed leverage, and then I noticed it, a small, flickering device embedded in the floor near the throne. It pulsed in sync with the queen's heartbeat. The ship itself was alive, and it responded to her will. But even she could not control everything simultaneously. "The queen," I said cautiously, "you claim the human is vital to your plans. But what if I offered something else of value? Something that could enhance your empire more than fear alone?" Her eyes narrowed. "Speak." I laid out a plan I had devised with the scientists and engineers back on Earth. We could reverse engineer the alien technology if given access to a small sample of their power source, a substance that allowed them to bend space and time itself. In return, we demanded Elias's freedom. It was a gamble. The queen had no reason to trust me, but she paused, considering. "Interesting," she mused. "You risk your world for one human, offering knowledge you do not yet possess. Perhaps this is worthy of examination." The negotiation took hours. I offered calculations, schematics, and theoretical models, enough to pique her interest without giving away humanity's weaknesses. Elias watched silently, and I realized that even in chains he understood the stakes. His courage gave me strength. Finally, the queen made her decision. "I will release the human," she declared. "But one condition remains. You, Carol Whitman, will accompany him aboard my vessel. You will witness the experiment. If either of you deceives me, your planet dies." I accepted. There was no choice. Elias and I were escorted to a separate chamber, the walls pulsating with energy. And then the experiment began. The queen revealed that Elias had been chosen not for any special ability, but because of a unique genetic trait. Humans were resistant to a certain temporal manipulation she wished to test. Her empire had discovered a method to create soldiers capable of existing across multiple timelines simultaneously. But the process was unstable, and previous subjects of other species had perished. Elias was ideal. "You see," she explained, "one human could change the course of many worlds." Elias's eyes met mine. He did not flinch. "I won't let you use me like a weapon," he said firmly. "You will comply," she replied, her voice a mixture of warning and admiration, "or I will burn your planet." I realized then that the only way to save both him and Earth was to outsmart her, and so I proposed an alternative. We would assist her experiment, but with a safeguard, a method to extract the energy safely, preventing harm to Elias or Earth. It was risky, but she agreed to consider it. For 3 days, we worked under her supervision. Each test was more dangerous than the last, pushing Elias and the technology to their limits. And each time, I observed the Queen more closely. She was not invincible. Her power was immense, but her curiosity was her weakness. She had never encountered humans willing to risk everything out of loyalty, love, or defiance. Finally, we reached a critical point. The device hummed, brighter than ever, threatening to tear a hole through the fabric of reality. The Queen's eyes glowed with anticipation. "Now," she said, "observe the results." But I was ready. Using the safeguard, I redirected the energy, creating a controlled loop that preserved Elias and prevented the device from destabilizing. The Queen gasped, unprepared for this level of ingenuity. "Impossible," she whispered. "No human could." Elias stepped forward. "We're not just humans," he said. "We fight for each other." The Queen stared at us, her expression unreadable. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Perhaps I underestimated your species," she said. "Elias, you're free. Kara, you may return. But remember, this is not forgiveness. Consider an adjustment of priorities. We were returned to Earth. The Zorinthian vessel vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving only a sky tinge of violet from the energy released in the experiment. Humanity had survived, but we had glimpsed a power that existed beyond our world. And we had learned that courage, loyalty, and ingenuity, human traits, were forces the universe could not ignore. Elias and I walked the ruins of our city, battered but alive. The threat was over, for now, but I knew the alien Queen would return. And next time, she might not be so lenient. Still, we had won something priceless. Each other, and the knowledge that even in the face of overwhelming power, humans could defy fate itself. The stars above no longer seemed distant or indifferent. They were watching us now, and perhaps, in that watching, we had earned a place among them. And somewhere out there, the alien Queen had learned something about humans she would never forget. That even the smallest spark of defiance could illuminate the darkest cosmos.